beautiful, beautiful beings. It's been a while. I think the last video you saw me in was Mount Shasta. And I am here today to transmit from the lovely southern western coast of Ireland. And it just so happens to be my solar return today. Yeah, I don't have any clear picture of where this recording is going to weave and flow, but I felt quite a pull to sit down and talk about some of my experiences here in Ireland in the 2 weeks that I've been here. So those of you who last saw me in beautiful Mount Shasta around winter time, I have since moved to England. I recorded one video while in Avalon for YouTube, and I was not actually really even in the energy yet, so that video that I recorded, I never posted it. But now that I am 6.5 months deep into this beautiful new chapter of my life, where I've returned to England, in a sense, returned to lands that my heart and my spirit and my soul have known for many, many lifetimes, but really a return to Europe, a return to the northern hemisphere, where the history is really moving through me, and the codes of these lands are having me question a lot about my path and how to really make it all make sense, how to share with you about, I guess, my magic from Peru, my magic from my Mexican lineage, as well as these remembrances that I'm having now that I'm back on Celtic and Druidic lands, to these places and spaces that have ancient stone circles and mountains that just really do hold energies of dragons and old stories, really, really, really old and beautiful energies that never left. They're here in the land if you're looking for them, and they're here waiting for us to remember and reawaken ourselves to their presence, and to really start incorporating this magic in our lives every day if we can. So I'm in Ireland, but I'm living in Avalon now. I've been in England, in the southwestern, very beautiful lands that we call Avalon, mystical lands, lands of the heart chakra of the planet. And it is in the 6 months that I've spent really cracking myself open from this space and remembering and reliving a vigor and a playfulness and a truth inside of me, a freedom inside of me that now has led me to Ireland, because I want to stay in England, and I want to stay in Europe, and I want to keep weaving and see where the serpent wants to take me. I really want to see, what do the waters have for me, because since I got to Avalon, there has been a resurgence of this urgent need to work with sacred waters. And funny enough, I am on the coast right now, about 1 kilometer from the Celtic Sea, the southern sea of Ireland. And I'm dressed in blue, and this couch has this watery energy, and my watery spirit is really coming alive here in Ireland and in these lands of my lineage, my ancestors. So it's something I haven't really talked about yet fully on this channel, because I've been exploring what does it even mean to me to know that I have Celtic, Irish, probably Welsh, and English bloodlines. Those of you who maybe didn't see, I had a video about my ancestry blood test that I did 2 years ago, and it came up that I had lineage over here in larger percentage than I even realized. I mean, England, Wales, and southwestern Europe came up as, I believe, 8% of my bloodline. Intuitively, it was my waking up to, that's why you've been so drawn to Celtic lands. That's why you traveled back in 2015 to Ireland for the first time with my mother at the time. And that's why you've returned now, at the beginning of 2021, where the ignition has been started and we're off. This isn't the practice run anymore. This is the real thing. This is life in color and in action. And in a world where we've been told for at least a year and a half now not to travel, stay home, do all these ridiculous things, and you'll be safe, and you will survive, and you'll go on. I haven't stopped traveling. I haven't stopped going where spirit leads. And I know that this is something that is a challenge, even for me as a traveler, to be traveling in a time where people look at you funny and ask you questions that nobody should have the right to ask you. What did you do before you arrived to our country? Did you quarantine? Did you put something in your body? You know, these types of questions. And yet here I am, because the universe wants me moving and weaving in these lands precisely at this time, precisely right now, to show up as a, I don't know, sore thumb comes to mind, or like a needle in a haystack. I'm that needle that has not gotten any needles put in her. I am that rarity, I am that gem, I am that crystal that believes in her immune system and believes in her purpose and her mission to bring awareness to freedom and sovereignty in a world where people are really throwing those things out the window, are treating it like something they would and easily can trade in for other short-term perks, you know. And I'm talking about social, you know, dining and don't know, moving around, taking a flight somewhere where now there's these extra there's extra red tape, and there's ridiculous things in place. I was sitting this morning, and again, I'm reminding you, it's my solar return today. I turned 34 this morning, and I'm sitting at a coffee shop outside in Ireland, in a big city, doing my tarot, picking my cards for clarity about, what's gonna be the prevalent energies of my solar return today, over these weeks in Ireland, and even throughout this year cycle that is beginning today. And I watched dozens of people walk into this coffee shop and put on a mask to walk into the coffee shop, buy a coffee, dessert, and walk out. And not one person walked in there and did not put on a mask. And yet I walked in there and ordered a coffee, and I put nothing on my face, and I was not wearing a scarf or a wrap like sometimes I have in the past in certain places. I walked in there like this, and I ordered my coffee, and I chatted with the woman at the counter, and she actually gave me some tips about where I should visit in these beautiful southwestern little beautiful coves and magical places here in Western Cork. And yet, when I sat down to have my coffee and get into my groove, I can't help but observe the systematic robot autopilot thing that, like I said, dozens of people fell in line with in a matter of 45 minutes, let's say. And my heart my heart knowing wanted to stop every single person and ask them, why are you doing that? What are you afraid of? Is it a conscious choice for you to do this day in and day out now? Or are you living your life on autopilot? My heart says, if I don't speak up in the moments when I can, and it's not 24 hours a day, believe me, it can't be that much of a full-time job for me to plant seeds and try to show people what's possible, another way. Like I said, the fucking needle in the haystack, showing up as that odd one. It's not falling in line. But when I get little opportunities to show up and show my face and show that there's nothing to be afraid of, that I'm healthy, that I'm holy, that I'm sacred, and that in the past 2 weeks I've traveled through Wales to get the ferry, where again many people said you're not going to get into Ireland. You're not going to be able to get in. Ireland's closed down to the world right now. And even hearing those things from certain people, my heart and my knowing said, it is Ireland. Ireland is where you're going next. You have to leave England if you want to come back in and be in good standing visa-wise. And it's Ireland. And trust that it's Ireland. And trust that no matter what other people say, follow your gut. Follow your knowing. There's a reason why intuition speaks to us at all moments. There's a reason why that voice inside says things, and maybe we feel a little bit crazy for a moment because the rest of the world is saying the opposite. But following those messages from angels, from guides, from ancestors, from my own higher self saying it is Ireland, trust in that. Take the ferry from Wales. You will get into Ireland. You will be welcome. If I had been scared off by people saying I wasn't going to get in, I would have had to fly to some other country and do the same game, but just in a different way. Even though it didn't feel right, even though my body didn't want to get on a plane and didn't want to go on this crazy, I don't know, month goose hunt for something that wasn't going to be my path. All this to say, I'm in Ireland. I've been here 2 weeks, and I'm faced with every single day dozens of challenges in the traveler's sense, if not more. 100 challenges a day sometimes, about how to show up as myself, fully trusting what I'm here to do when I'm met with other people fearing, or maybe even, like I said, not fearful per se, but on autopilot, must follow rules, must do XYZ as I'm told. And there's no logic behind these things. There's no heart behind the things that people are doing and saying because the GOVT told me to, because authorities say these are the steps, these are the questions I must drill people with, inquire about. And it's been fucking challenging. And it hasn't been I don't think it's been this in my face since about the time of the start of it all, around March or April of last year when I was in Peru. And I'm just sharing this because it's happening in real time. These days that have now become 2 weeks have brought up things in me that I didn't even realize were going to be such a thing, where I don't feel like I'm fully in my power even, because every time I'm looking for a place to stay, I'm making sure 2, 3, 5, 10 times that I'm within all of the parameters and jumping every single hoop so that I can have a comfortable place to stay for usually a night, 2 nights. I've not stayed in one place in the past week and a half comfortably 100% well rested and without a lot of things moving through my mind space and my heart space, and feeling my root chakra tight and trying to transmute and really do a lot of work for me, because it's challenging to not be able to feel like you're home, to not feel like the world is your home. As a traveler, that's one of the worst feelings in the world. To feel like you're only welcome if you meet this list of requirements. To feel like people will only talk to you if your face is covered. To feel like you're out there alone. Gritting, connecting with the land and the beings and the memories here from lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. I'm trying to balance that magic and that beauty and that destiny that is who I am with the rest of it, which feels like hell. Different forms of hell, different layers of hell on earth. I'm sharing this message with a heavy heart today, knowing that I can turn it around, knowing that my guides and my angels and my ancestors are here, like supporting me, like my army of light that can see just a little bit clearer and a little bit further ahead than I can see right now. Miracles can happen every day. And in some ways, I think it's a miracle that I'm even here. And I think it's a miracle that I could press record. And if you end up actually watching this, I think that is a miracle in itself. Because who fucking knows if this will reach anyone based on the codes and the people in charge of these platforms. And at the same time, here I am privileged to sit in a brand new cozy Irish linen shirt that I bought today in honor of my birthday, wrapped in this beautiful wool wrap from the first time my mom and I came to Ireland. So I'm wearing Ireland, I'm being hugged by Ireland, I'm being held by Ireland. But it's the land that's holding me. It's the land that brought me here. And there are some beautiful, beautiful takeaways already in this being my 14th day here. Little things, surprises, little gifts, and little big gifts as well. I have experienced one of those synchronicities that I would have never thought of or planned for myself, but of course, my guides, my angels, my team, my council was like, we're gonna send you someone. We're gonna send you a sister. We're going to orchestrate in the most unexpected way your meeting with her. And when I said earlier that you have to listen to that voice, that intuition, that guidance as it's coming in, I really have seen how every time I've looked at a map of Ireland, whether it was because I was trying to see what accommodations, what Airbnbs would I, possibly stay in, just really doing the very first preliminary. I could possibly want to stay here, want to see this, making a little map, feeling energetically what these places could hold. Every time I would look at the southern coast of Ireland, this town, Dungarvan, would jump off of the screen. And I clicked on it and I scrolled through some photos of the little town. And I even remember the name of this town for some reason from 2015 when my mom and I first came to Ireland. But this time around, making my little map on Google Maps, Dungarvan jumped off of the screen over and over again. So I took a mental note. And it wasn't until I was leaving my first accommodation, my first region of Ireland that I stayed in, that I started looking up accommodation near Dungarvan. It's got to be something here. And this beautiful Airbnb with a window view of the sea. So from the bed, you could actually see the ocean, was available. And I booked a couple of nights there. The bus that goes through Ireland to all the major towns and things was going to stop through Dungarvan. And my host from Airbnb was going to pick me up and take me back to her home, 8 kilometers away. And it was in that small window waiting for my ride that I had to go to the bathroom, had to eat something, and decided to get a coffee as well, that I found myself running to go to the toilet in the supermarket, the closest supermarket nearby, and getting lost in this supermarket, going up and down every single aisle and not seeing a toilet anywhere. That out of the corner of my eye, I kid you not, the corner of my eye, there was a pin board with different advertisements of events and, the normal type of pin board. And there was this flyer there. And it said yoga, meditation, drum meditation, I believe, drum journey. I think it said vegetarian meal, something like that. And it was very energetically pulling my attention. And so in the midst of nearly peeing my pants, I take out my phone and I take a picture of this flyer. And then I run up every aisle again and finally ask somebody, where's the bathroom? And I go. And I return to a coffee shop where I had left my luggage. And I sit down and have a coffee and relax. And then pull out my phone and decide to find the woman who put the advertisement up and write her about possibly meeting and possibly doing this little retreat that she had advertised. She was advertising day retreats, kind of wellness and connecting to the land, and all of it sounded right up my alley. And so we met the next day. We met the next day in person, even though I wasn't going to do the retreat right away. I was going to do it a few days later. We decided to meet. I chose to meet her by a little area here in Ireland. They call them keys, and I think it's not spelled the way you would think. But the Irish keep correcting me on pronunciation, so it's actually called key. And it's usually where the water kind of like empties out, or it's like a river emptying out into the sea. And that's exactly what it was. And the little boats and things kind of line up there in a little harbor type of area. And we're in Dungarvan town. And I wait for her while I'm smoking my mapacho and connecting to the water. Not only the ocean, the sea, but also the river that's emptying out there. It was the perfect spot to meet this other water mistress, this water being, this water sister, this water dragon. I can't really put into words what was going to unfold through that series of events. But I'll give you the short version. Spirit wanted Avalon to be connected in a deeper, more intentional way to Ireland, to this isle. And Avalon being a sacred isle with, as you may know, so many water connections and history of water, and the way we know Glastonbury or Avalon today, surrounded by marshes, this ancient marshland, this misty, watery, flowy quality that Avalon carries, being an island. Imagine that Ireland carries those same codes, except that Ireland is a bigger island. But it is the major island of Europe besides the United Kingdom. I mean, this land here, Ireland, has had some amazing, amazing historical melding and landings of different people, be it Spaniards, be it Vikings. Obviously, the English kept coming here. Obviously, I'm sure the Scottish and the Irish, I'm pretty sure I got this right, were taking turns also, like, I'm going to conquer you, no, I'm going to conquer you, like all of these energies, these different weavings of peoples that came here and settled or tried to conquer or tried to intermingle with the people that were living here. This is a very, very interesting grid point in the planet that I am reconnecting with. I am no expert by any means, but the heart of the Atlantic Ocean, I believe, is here. So I'm going to take it to Titanic for you, because why not? The beautiful metaphor of Ireland as the Emerald Isle, and the beautiful sapphire colored diamond in the movie Titanic that they call the heart of the ocean. To me, that is Ireland. There is this quality of, this is the heart of the Atlantic that is just floating here, holding a frequency that a lot of people have forgotten about, holding a frequency that a lot of people overlook in the modern day, because they are so blindfolded, because they are not present, because they choose to live in big cities and hustle and bustle and climb corporate ladders and get cozy and fat. Sorry, that's the way I feel, that's the way I see it. Sorry, not sorry. So they've ignored a lot of the purity that this land, this green emerald color, waters, rivers, marshes, even the seas hold. So you'd think the sea would be blue, but what if it's a completely cloudy day? Then the water actually gets these green, these deep teal and green tones. It's not actually blue at all, unless the sun is out and it's super blue and crystalline and more turquoise. But Ireland is quite overcast and rainy a lot of the time, so the water actually takes this quality, this green color quite often, grayish greens, and this land holds the energy of the heart for me, the heart of the ocean, the heart of the Atlantic. Now take that a step further. What if Ireland is one of the heartlands of Atlantis, ancient Atlantis? What if this isle and the Isle of the UK actually are connected, but these lands have now sunk? And so we see it and we experience it now as two separate islands. But what if they're actually connected? This is what I am seeing and feeling, and what is true for me in this moment. And I'm going to keep exploring it, and I'm going to keep connecting the waters, and I'm going to keep operating from my heart, knowing, and my trust, even in the most strange times that are going to likely be the next 5-10 years, this decade that started last year in 2020, this catalyst moment in time. I'm going to keep following my heart and sharing the journey that I am on for as long as it feels true. I think I will continue this video in another part of the Isle and really try to keep inviting you to question things. Not try, I'm going to keep inviting you to question things, to question the narrative, to question the rules. Make up your own mind from your own research, from your heart space, from your knowing. Listen, listen. Connect to the waters above, below, and inside of you. Let the waters speak the truth, and open your emerald heart to listen, to receive the guidance that is available. The cosmic oneness, the source pouring down into all of us who are willing to see and willing to hear and willing to feel what truth is, what sovereignty is, and what freedom really, really is. I will see you on the next video. Thank you for riding the waves with me and moving through the tears with me. And please write in the comments below if you are experiencing something similar or something different, or what you got out of this video. If you did get anything out of this video, please share it if it resonated with you. And just know from the bottom of my heart, on my solar return today, I'm with you. I love you. Thank you for being brave and beautiful, multi-dimensional beings in a fucking weird moment in the time-space continuum.